Hi, I decided to go live again tonight. I decided to go live again to talk about my near-death experience because I had one. And it was about 20 years ago. I was very young. I don't know, I was in my late 30s. I can't remember exactly the year. But I had an allergic reaction to some medication that I took. And I was in the ambulance and I was having my stomach pumped. And I looked to the right, and in the corner of the ambulance, there was a black woman. She had burlap clothing on. She she said to me, "What the doctors are doing to is wrong. Patience is a virtue, and in God we trust. And when you look down on the ground and see a penny, that's a reminder that I'm around you." Well, ever since that near-death experience happened to me, I changed. I morphed into a different person. I never believed in psychics and mediums at all before, but then I became one. I started seeing the dead. So, you know that sixth sense that opens up? My sixth sense opened up. I became what I call a psychic and medium. What happened to me on that day, I tried to explain to a lot of my friends, and they thought maybe I was telling the truth, but my family thought different things. They thought that it was just the drug reaction that made my brain think I saw an angel there. I call her my angel, or I could call her my spirit guides. She looked at me with messenger eyes, like warning eyes, telling me what she told me, not to trust doctors as much for me, because I have rare DNA gene that I cannot take medications. I have trouble absorbing them and I get sick from them and I have reactions. So she told me patience as far as healing, and I've come all this way in my life to tell you my story because I've been healing for many years. But to tell you my story about what started changing in my life, I started seeing spirits standing over my bed at night. First was a guy named Rob. He was my ex-boyfriend that I dated. I had broken up with him, but I was in a severe car accident with him where I lost my spleen because of he was drinking and driving, and so was I. But I didn't drive the car. I let him drive my car. I gave him my keys. And I said, "Here, I'm too drunk to drive, so why don't you drive?" And then, big mistake, biggest mistake ever in my life, I lost my spleen. Hence why I'm so sensitive now, because I lost an organ in my body. But you can survive without a spleen because it replaces your red blood cells. And if you don't have one, your bone marrow takes over, it replaces your red blood cells for you. So, moving forward, I started seeing spirits standing over my bedside. I started wondering why I first saw Rob Willis. Well, that night I found out that he died that night, Rob. So he was the one that got me in the car accident, and he was the one that it was his fault. He was driving the car that I lost my spleen. Well, he was standing over my bedside with a lantern, holding a lantern or a crystal, and it was bright. Almost like that I was the first person that he came to see to be sure I was okay from heaven. Or I call it the other side. So then, all through my life, I started seeing spirits. And then I started talking to spirits. And I went to doctors still, and they just told me, well, you can't talk to people like that. You can't, they didn't believe me. So I sought out alternative places to go for people that I could trust. And I then got more connections with more spirits. Soon, lo and behold, I'm working for 17 years in a career as a psychic and medium. How was I to know, that this was going to happen to me later in life, right? But it was because of my near-death experience. It's weird because there are vibrations in the universe that it's like we can go down a wormhole into another dimension and talk to a spirit. We can talk to God if we want. God, to me, is we're talking to our higher self. How do we get that? By meditating a lot. But see the way the camera is today on this YouTube video? It makes me feel like something pushed me here. Someone pushed me here to do this video. A spirit possibly pushed me to do this video. Because I see rainbow colors around me in the background. Do you guys see it? But anyway, on to my story. Well, so tonight I go to the beach in my local hometown. And I look inside a car that is across from me in the parking lot, and I see some spirits sitting there. And I was like, wait, are those real people sitting in that car, or are those spirits? I can't tell the difference. So I look and look, and then I'm like, well, I better pull my car out and go around so I can see if they're real people sitting in that car, because I think they're real people. Well, then I go around and I look in the car and nobody there. So I took the video of the spirits. I took the video of the car when I saw the spirits, and the spirits actually showed up on the video. The spirits of these people showed up on the video. So what I saw was a little girl in the car, and I saw a guy in the car. He was wearing a mask for the coronavirus. So I figured this happened recently. Then I saw somebody sitting in the back, and I just was frustrated because I was like, why are these spirits showing up in the car, right? This is story hour here. This is true story that happened to me. But, yeah. Did you see those spirits, Shar? Because Shar just joined me and she said she just saw the video on Instagram. Yes, that's the car. Well, here's the thing. The other day, I was walking on my walk, and I walk my dog, and I hear the spirit say, I wrote it down. I heard the spirits say to me in my ear, because I'm clairaudient, and I hear spirits talk to me all day long. It can sometimes drive you crazy. Like, I'll go to the grocery store and I hear a spirit talking to me. But just is what it is. That's the way I live my life. This spirit said, I drove off a cliff in the valley of the Metro Parks. Now, I have the Metro Parks right near me. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is the readings that are going to come later today. And I asked them, and they said, no, we don't know of anybody that drove off a cliff. And I'm like, was this a whole family of people that drove off a cliff? Like, some guy was like tired of life and he was wearing a mask and he just got tired of it all and he drove off a cliff with his little girl in the car. And she's blonde because she looked troubled. The spirit of the little girl looked troubled. And then I try to go into my meditation and I ask, what spirit is talking to me and why? Why did these spirits show up in this car, this vehicle? And then they give me, like I'm driving around town and I'm going to just see the lake and stuff, and it's a hot day, and I hear another spirit. This spirit says a whole name to me. I'm not going to say the name though. And they say, this person will come to me soon and she'll talk about her son and the court case. I'm like, what? So I have yet to see those people. They didn't come to me yet for the reading. But the thing is that once you are a psychic and medium, it's like a world that you have to kind of just put all the pieces and puzzles together of each spirit that's trying to talk to you, because they can be all lined up for me and want to talk because they're like, okay, the medium is finally like really listening to us now. And sometimes it can be frustrating, confusing, because I'm like, well, please just, focus in on one person only, talk one person, because they're all excited. But I mean, that's basically what happened to me with my near-death experience. I changed. I was no longer just a normal girl or woman experiencing life in a normal way. I became abnormal. My brain tapped into something because I had that experience. So now I'm able to talk to dead people daily. And I still have a fun life. I have a funny, great, joyous life sometimes. It's like the roller coasters of emotions, though, because sometimes I don't know if I'm taking on my own emotion or I'm taking on somebody in the spirit world. So that can be a little off, different too. I've been in a movie, a real movie, a film with Tom Holland, Spider-Man. I was just an extra in the restaurant scene, but it was cool. And he was looking at me and I was looking at him, and we kept smiling at each other, and he was really cute. And he's just worth $6 million. That's all. And I'm like, wow, I got to do that. That's amazing in my life. So I've had some amazing things in my life. But the most amazing thing for me is that I can talk to spirits. I can talk to dead people. I think that is pretty cool. I like it. I like talking to the dead, because the dead, they can't talk back. They can only be kind and tell me things that they want to get a message across to me. They don't get in fights with me. They respect me because they know I'm a medium. So today I'm telling my story because I really, really want to try to talk to these deceased people who are trying to tell me why they showed up in spirit in the car. And I really, really need to figure out these spirits who came to me today, and want to still talk. So I go to sleep then, and I'll get a vision, or I'll get a dream, or I'll get like these really clear visions in my third eye. And they sometimes add up and make sense. And they always make sense later. But I should always journal. I got to keep the journal, which I have right here, of who shows up and who talks and what they say. I have to write everything down, because if not, my brain will forget. So we're going through a lot, and the veil is very thin on the earth plane, and we are able to just be this close to a spirit if we want to be. Like, you can talk to your spirits anytime you want. They're there, they're listening. I'm not here on this video to answer questions today. I'm here to tell my story. I'm not here to do free readings today. That's why I named this something else today, to tell my story of my near-death experience, because to me, it was a very cool experience, and it made me who I am today. I would not want to go through another near-death experience, though, but someday, yes, we all have to go through, right? We all have to transition. We all have to leave our physical. It's inevitable. We will leave our physical. But I can guarantee you that we'll still be there somewhere in the cyberspace of the spirit world. We'll still be, our souls will still go somewhere, and we'll be good. So there's a storm brewing here in my town of Avon Lake, Ohio. I am a psychic and medium, Jane Voneman, telling my story. And I see some spirits standing right behind me in this video. They're lighting up right over there. You see that? Lights, two lights. That's sometimes how they appear. I'm going to turn around and see. Okay, well, anyway, there definitely is a light by the light. Okay, so the red light is definitely the light fixture, but there's a light by the light. Unless that's a speck. Okay, well, anyway, there's spirits here. I can tell there's spirits in this room. But I have to just go to bed, and they might stand over my bedside and tell me more details of why they showed up today in the car and what this weird scenario is that they're trying to tell me about, and if I'm supposed to solve some kind of unsolved mystery. Because they also said documentary, like there was a documentary on them, whoever these spirits are that showed up in the car, which it wasn't their car. They just showed up in some stranger's car. So I feel bad for the stranger because I have them on video. They have the license plate on video. But it didn't have anything to do with these people. It just had to do with the spirits showing up in that car for me to see. To tell me something about a scenario with a vehicle. So that's it. That's my story. I was a little tired tonight, so I didn't want to go too long here. I just wanted to tell my story briefly and then get off of YouTube. I went 16 minutes and 23 seconds, and I just feel like that's enough to tell my story. And you never know. Okay? So thanks all for joining me, fans out there. I love you. Keep following my stories. Thank you so much. I enjoyed sharing. See ya.